Hey, this is Zach, CEO of Genzio, here at Paris Blockchain Week with
Ali, tech lead at Gridex.
Awesome. And for the folks who don't know yet, but probably will soon, can you explain what GridX is very concisely?
Gridex is the first fully on-chain order book protocol for Ethereum.
Wow, that was really concise. That was like the best answer I've heard concisely. And can you explain to people who maybe don't know what an order book is? I think people understand Ethereum, but like what that really means to a user.
The simplest way to put it is you've now got a centralized exchange, but on-chain, and you keep your assets and you don't trust anyone with them.
Perfect. And how does that work? Like, is there roll-ups? Is there wraps? Like, how would that work?
So we've completely reimagined how an order book would work. So instead of the traditional central limit order book model, we've made our own grid maker order book model, which essentially just requires a lot less computation and is therefore feasible to do on chain.
So for an average user, they come to your platform. What is that experience like? Like, say I was trying to swap $100 of Bitcoin to $100 of Dogecoin. Like, would that be possible? And what would that slippage or fees look like?
That would certainly be possible, and you would have absolutely no slippage at all. So imagine all of the things you love from Binance, all of the things you love from Uniswap, minus all of the things that you hate about those two, and then marry them together.
Very cool. And how did you guys like come up with this idea? What was the real inspiration?
Well, I mean, it was just like because the thing is that AMM sort of popped up after order books on chain failed because they were trying to use the central limit order book model. And then Uniswap V3 came around with their ticks, and that was sort of a bit of the inspiration of how we came up with the grid maker order book model. In essence, what's special about it is that it basically discretizes price into very narrow ranges. So because of that, every order in a range gets bundled up into one order, and then that's how severely we've really like dialed down the gas costs because you're basically instead of matching, a swap with like I don't know a million. No, not a million, maybe a thousand like maker orders on an order book. You're just matching it with one. So all of that computational complexity has just been like wiped away.
That's incredible. I guess just for people who are here building, what can they look forward to kind of building on GridX? What are some use cases that you're excited about that you're seeing here?
So the most important thing about being on chain is that it means that you're fully composable, and that's what's like made DeFi take off like a rocket since 2020. So right now, I mean, GridX is sort of like the foundational Lego brick of a Lego house. So you can do anything that you want with that brick. Essentially, anything in DeFi that requires a trade you can integrate GridX into it and you'll make it a million times better. So that's basically everything in DeFi.
And do you see this as kind of, I asked your colleagues this too, but do you see this as a competition for sexes, or do you see this as kind of like a complementary product where someone might use, I don't know, Coinbase to onboard in fiat and then trade on GridX, or do you see it as being kind of like a one-stop solution, also for like fiat on ramps?
Yeah, so in terms of fiat on ramps, that's probably Kex's last stand. But interestingly enough, there is a team here that is trying to build a fiat on and off ramp with GridX directly. So that would be amazing. And I mean, there are things like MoonPay and stuff. In terms of whether it's like a competition, I mean, ideally, the ethos of crypto dictates that eventually we shouldn't use anything that's centralized. We should just be trading in DeFi.
Absolutely. And I think that would bring a lot more transparency as well. I think that's something else we've been discussing is how does this make it more transparent for the users?
It makes it infinitely more transparent because everything's there on chain to query. Smart contracts are on chain. There is no like sort of black box. Like you don't have to worry about. I mean, there's no deposit to begin with, but with centralized exchanges, you need to worry about. Oh, when I deposit, are they just holding it there, or are they, I don't know, lending it out? Is that lending out safe? Are they rehypothecating stuff? And then at some point, like with FTX, you you find out that the Bitcoin that you were trading was never actually really Bitcoin. It was just numbers on the screen because they never had that Bitcoin, because they were using it to prop up their own token. So, yeah, but you don't get any of that if you're a fully on-chain DEX.
Yeah, I totally agree. Well, thank you so much for the interview. Where can people find you or find more information about you guys?
So you can go to gdx.org, and right now, if you want to use Gridex with a nice interface, the first DEX aggregator to integrate us is called D5. You can find them at d5.xyz, and there you can trade right now on the Arbitrum mainnet.
And one more question, actually. So the token just launched. What is the utility of the token within the Gridex ecosystem and future plans for years to come with the token?
So right now the token's an ERC20, and it's sort of bootstrapping liquidity to get us off the ground, because we've got maker rewards, which basically reward you for either placing maker orders or doing market swaps on GDX ETH. But that's not the real utility of GDX. So in, I believe, Q2 of next year, we plan to launch Gridex POS, which will be a cross-chain order book protocol, a layer 0, supports all of your favorite layer 1s and layer 2s, but most importantly, it'll support Bitcoin as well. So this would be the first time that you could actually trade native Bitcoin without any wrapping, without any bridges. And we believe that that will be one of the final nails in the coffin for Kexes.
All right, well, RIP. Not really. Okay, thank you so much for the interview. And yeah, thanks for everyone for watching. Follow Gridex on Twitter. Check out the website. Let's go. Paris Blockchain Week.